What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Crams are here, coming at you with a review of the new Pretenders record, Relentless. Came out yesterday. We've reviewed the Pretenders on the channel, so we've both heard all of their previous material. I think when we did that, the last one had already come out, right? We included that, or was
Yeah.
that after the fact?
Yeah, Hate for Sale was fresh when we did their discography. I believe it was like maybe the early fall of 2020.
Sounds about right. Definitely in the first year of the channel for sure. So this new one, how you feeling about it?
Jace, I feel pretty darn good. I'm pretty impressed. I'm always a little cautious about these veteran acts that were releasing new stuff. I don't know how the new Rolling Stones album is going to be. I haven't listened to the new Alice Cooper yet. But the Pretenders are a band that have kind of been keeping it together. Like, I don't really think they're missing much of a beat. I really liked this album. Almost love it. Cat out of the bag right off the top. I'm going a very strong 3.5, almost 4 stars for me. I think it's really good. I think it's maybe missing just like one or two just gem of a songs. There's nothing on here that I absolutely love, but there's nothing that is less than I think is really good. It's just start to bottom. Every song is very good.
I don't know. I think there is a varying quality in the track list. For me, I think the first three songs are awesome. They come out of the gate really strong. Losing My Sense of Taste is really cool. There's some funny lyrics in there. I love the first verse where she says, I don't even care about rock and roll. All of my favorites seem tired and old. My whole collection now feels like a waste. I'm losing my sense of taste. I think that's just really funny and kind of, talking about like the COVID era, people saying they're losing their sense of taste when they get sick, and then relating that to kind of a lack of culture that people have now. A really good song. Track two, A Love, might be my favorite on the record. Really cool, jangly, shimmering lead guitar on there. Domestic Silence, I think, is a really good showcase for guitarist James Walborn. Really ripping, fuzzy solo on there that's great. And then, I don't know, none of the songs in the middle are bad, but the tempo slows down. It's more ballad heavy. It's a lot slower. So the middle of the record for me really kind of sags. And then, there's a song Vainglorious on there that feels a little bit like filler. It's under 3 minutes and it's just kind of a throwaway, I think. But then it closes with I Think About You Daily, which is a really good ballad, strings arranged by Johnny Greenwood on there. To me, there's like 5 really good songs on the record. 3 of them open it and 1 closes it. So you got a big stretch in the middle where there's not as much standout material. And I agree with you, none of it's bad. But I think because it's all slow and it's kind of ballad heavy in the middle, it feels weaker than it is. I think individually the songs are pretty good. But I think there's a sequencing issue with this record.
I disagree. I pretty much started like up here and just kept there the whole time. I love Vainglorious, especially in conjunction with I Think About You Daily. I think that's a great way to close the album because Vainglorious, I thought maybe of any more than anything on the album, kind of reminded me of their more feisty earlier, new wave kind of days. And it's kind of fun and wild. And then you get the really, delicate soft touch with the somber piano ballad kind of thing at the end. And man, it racked my brain all morning today. The strings from Johnny are excellent. Johnny Greenwood. There's a couple of times where I had that effect where moments of it reminded me of exactly like something else. And I couldn't think of it. And it was just like an itch I couldn't scratch. And then I was like, it was right on the tip of my tongue. And I took my dog on a walk and I was just searching through some playlists I was like listening to the last few years. And I finally found it. It's Such a Woman by Neil Young off of Harvest Moon. Some of the strings in there kind of touch some of those same moments for me, which thank God I figured that out because it would have just killed me. But anyways, back to the record. Yeah, solid all the way through. New producer David Wrench, I think, kind of uses some of the leftover stuff that Stephen Street did on Hate for Sale. But one thing I like about this album is it's kind of what you expect from a Pretenders album, but also a little bit refreshing. Like I think there's new ideas without going like, completely into outer space for a Pretenders album. Chrissie is solid. I think she has more of like a little bit reined in mystique here, where she's more mature, more relaxed, but equally as enigmatic. And I really liked Hate for Sale, but I think this one is a bit better. I think it's more raw. The guitar tones are like a newly polished kind of new wave grime to it. I really like A Love as well, the more like romantic 80s jangly kind of guitar tones. I like her rhythm singing on that. She's kind of poking at the softness of the melody underneath. And then at the end, there's kind of this like more fuzzy out just tone to it, which kind of gives it a cool different character. Domestic Silence is really cool. It's almost got like this dark bluesy grit to it. The Copa I thought was really wonderful, very enchanting. The Promise of Love right in the middle of the album, which you don't seem to care for, is one of my favorites in the album. It's got a big 70s sound, really robust drama to it with all the big chords and the conjunction with the piano kind of hitting everything at once, drives it all home. Kind of gave me some Wise Blood vibes. And then the next song, Merry Widow, which is really cool, um, gave me a little bit of like Lana Del Rey vibes. So maybe these veterans are taking some cues from the new bloods. But Merry Widow, really cool, has that great line, I'm a divorcee, but I feel like a widow. Really cool song there. Um, yeah, and I think the album kind of has like this haunting, bewitched kind of quality to it, a bit of a devilish sound at times. Very cool, full of darkness and mystery. Let the Sun Come In is one of the more peppy and like catchier songs. Maybe the song on the album, other than Vainglorious, to me that has the most fun, and it has kind of an REM kind of jangly guitar part. I can't believe you didn't mention the call and response and the backing vocals of Your House Is on Fire. I thought you would love that. I really like the Western vibes on Let It Go. Yeah, I mean, like I have positive notes for every one of these songs. To me, it's just one of just rock solid, start to finish. I almost think you could rearrange it in a lot of different ways and it would still kind of play the same. Like I understand a little bit where you're coming from because it does kind of go a little bit back to back with like those mid-tempo kind of slower, downtrodden songs, but they're all different enough that it keeps you engaged. um so yeah, I really think with maybe more time I could get up to 4 stars, but right now I'm sticking at 3.5. I think it's very good. I did really like the closer on the album is really friggin' good.
So I think compared to Hate for Sale, I think they're of a similar quality, but I think they're fairly different records. I think if you go back to even to like Learning to Crawl, I think every Pretenders record since then, to varying degrees, feels like some feel more like a Chrissy solo record and some feel more like band records. And I would say that Hate for Sale feels more like a band record. And I think this one feels a bit more like a Chrissy solo record. I think having Martin Chambers on drums on the last record really helped that feeling. And I don't know, this one just feels, I don't know, less like a band. It feels more songwritery to me than like rock band vibes. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I'm just stating what it is. And then production wise, I think this one, especially, it feels really, the sound of it is really big and full and round. And I don't know that I'd say muddy, but I think it could be thinned out a little, especially for the rock stuff. I think it lacks a little punch because it's so like robust sounding. I don't think it like hits you between the eyes quite enough.
I would agree with that sound. It has like a gravelly kind of ness to it, which like Hate for Sale kind of has on the outside, but it's like cleaned up. So this one I thought felt a little bit more live and a little bit raw. I can see what you're saying. Like to me, it felt a little bit more live, but like the approach to the songwriting and the performances were a little bit more like, here's Chrissy's story to tell with the band behind her. But I thought it worked great like that.
I mean, either way, I think we're both at 3.5. I guess your 3.5 is a little higher than mine. But I think it's a solid record. It's really enjoyable for a band as old as they are. Very impressive. I mean, I don't think there's too many acts from the same era still putting out this quality of work. So
No, and I mean, like we have talked a lot about the acts that are older, 30 to 40 years older. Like we love that Psychedelic Furs album from like 2020. There have been albums that have come out, like, Elvis Costello has had a pretty good one. He's also had a dud. But to me, like the Pretenders, they're pretty consistent right now. They're like I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 or 3 years they put out another one that's of this quality. They don't really seem to be losing touch at all, to be honest.
Yeah. And her voice still sounds great. I don't think she, like, as far like that's a big problem for me with a lot of the older acts. It's just like once the voice starts to go, it's just hard to get the same feeling from the music. And to me, she sounds almost identical to the way she always has. So
Well, I think you can attribute a lot of that is when she was like in her mid to late 20s, she already sounded like a mature, like 45-year-old singer. But
yeah.
which is not a knock on her. Like she just always had that more, rich, deeper kind of brassy vocals, which is her trademark. And she sounded great on this.
All right. So let us know what you think of the record. Hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, check out all the links in the video description. We got some new merch in our merch store, or you can check out our Patreon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.